Suvada Party here for the Make the Money and Run podcast minute. Welcome in on a Saturday morning, 10:15 on the East Coast in the AM, which means it's very early on the West Coast here on the 7:15 AM hour. Welcome into the Make the Money and Run podcast. Yesterday, Friday, Casey and I had a little difficulty with the internet. I was running around. We had all sorts of things going on, so it didn't come out as planned yesterday. So we'll make that up to you on Monday. You can catch us every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We're going to have a little tweak in the times and a little tweak in the format after Monday. We'll tell you all about it on Monday. You can join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. If you missed any of the live broadcasts, including the pick segment on our big shows, then you can download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Look for the logo up there in the right-hand corner. Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple, iHeart, Google, SoundCloud, Spotify. And yeah, that's it. Pretty much it. Anywhere else you get your podcasts, there's a lot of other podcast outlets to go to. All right, let's get to it here real quick. Let's start out with the NBA last night. What happened in Los Angeles? The Utah Jazz had a 25-point lead, upwards of 25, I think 25. I don't remember if it got higher than that. Thought it was over. Same thing happened to the Sixers this week. They ended up losing 2 games. Well, unfortunately for the Utah Jazz, this is the worst loss possible, even on the road. They could have forced a Game 7 on Sunday afternoon, but instead the Clippers come back from 25 down, a 17-0 run. They got to within 3, and they end up winning by 12, 131-119. Actually, not sure if that last basket counted, but anyway, they ended up covering the 3 points as an underdog. Ended up going way over the total, which is what I had at 220.5. The Clippers have advanced. They did not have Kawhi Leonard for the second straight game. Wonder how that roster is going to become next year with or without Kawhi Leonard. It'll be interesting to see because he is a free agent or he can opt out at the end of this year. But Paul George came through again. Terrence Mann, where did he come from? Florida State? Florida State, Terrence Mann. Shout out Seminole Nation. Terrence Mann had a big game in Kawhi Leonard's spot. Marcus Morris Sr. hit shot after shot after shot. And Reggie Jackson, thinking he's Mr. October, the other Reggie Jackson. Instead, he's Mr. June with the shots that he's made, the passes that he made. They've been brilliant over the last 2 games. And the Los Angeles Clippers, first time ever, shouted out Staples Center, shouted out Clipper fans. First time ever in the Western Conference Finals, and they're going to take on the Phoenix Suns. In fact, they've moved that game. It was going to be Tuesday to start the series if it went 7, but it's going to be Sunday afternoon, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 on ABC, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Now, today is the big day for the Phoenix Suns because we'll have to find out if Chris Paul is going to be healthy enough to even play. He did go into COVID protocol on Tuesday, and they were going to evaluate him again on Saturday. He has not said to the public whether he's been vaccinated, and frankly, he doesn't have to. We shouldn't have to tell people our medical history, and that's against the law anyway. So let him and the team work it out. If he plays on Sunday, great. If he doesn't, then Game 1 could end up being a toss-up from the standpoint of the Clippers offense right now versus the Suns defense. That's the way it's going to be. Devin Booker's been on fire. DeAndre Ayton, what's gotten into DeAndre Ayton? Year 3 in the NBA. He's having himself quite a playoff run. Ever since the bubble last year, he's been picking it up. He's been putting it down. He's been taking on big men of all sizes and statures and all shapes and sizes for him to be successful. He's hitting the offensive glass. He's rebounding the ball well defensively. And he's got that little jump shot that takes place from about 15 feet. And he's turned himself into a very good player. Devin Booker had 46 the other night in one of those games earlier in the playoffs against Denver. So this is their first game in 7 days. Tomorrow will be the 7th day since they swept the Denver Nuggets out in 4 straight. And so they've got enough rest. They'll figure out the Chris Paul situation. The early line for the Suns is 4.5. Actually, let me go to it. It's 4.5 for the Suns. And the total is, I think, somewhere around 215. We'll get to it in a second. But the Western Conference Finals are set. We'll give you that line in a second here. The Phoenix Suns are 4.5 and 221.5 as far as the game goes for Game 1. The series price, see if they have a series price here. Basketball NBA Futures, basketball series. They don't have a series price here listed. Casey Freelove is all good about that type of stuff. All right, so as we said, the Phoenix Suns will host the LA Clippers for Game 1, 3:30 Eastern, ABC. How about that game last night in Atlanta? Game 6, the Philadelphia 76ers down big. They end up coming out on a 12-0 run at half. They end up making it a 4-point game at the half when they were down by 12 points, 25-13 I believe was the biggest lead Atlanta had. 25-13 in the first quarter. They go on a quick run. They get it to a 4-point game, and it ends up 4 points at the half, 51-47, way under the total 224. The game ended up on under the total, and Philadelphia did cover. But down 4 at the half, they come out with a 12-0 run. That's the Philadelphia 76ers we need to see. That type of defense. Joel Embiid exuded his will. Some of the officiating was not very good in his opinion, and frankly, it hasn't been very good in any of the playoffs right now. So there were some calls that were very questionable in terms of offensive fouls and travels and things of that nature. Trae Young had himself a big game as well too, but not enough. Kevin Huerter, the rest of the guys could not shoot like they did the other day. Gallinari had a pretty good game. Lou Williams had a decent game, but nothing like they did in the 2 comebacks in Game 4 and Game 5 to get this thing to a Game 6. So Philadelphia ends up winning. They win by 5, 102-97, I think it was the final score. I don't have the scores in front of me, but Philadelphia covers the 2.5. They stay way under 104.99. That was the final. 104.99. They cover the 2.5. They stay under the 224.5. And now they go into a Game 7. It's going to be tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern. TNT will have it. TNT has all the Eastern Conference games this year. The winner will take on the winner of Game 7 tonight between the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. What happened to Brooklyn the other night on Thursday? Kevin Durant did everything he could. He ended up having 32 points, but it wasn't enough. No Kyrie Irving. James Harden is a decoy, and he's not going at full speed, and you can't blame him with that hamstring, but he is another weapon out there, and the Bucks have accounted for him. The Bucks ended up taking that game pretty easily down the stretch. Brooklyn did get it to 7, and that was the closest they got in the fourth quarter, and then the Bucks went on a little run, ended up winning the game by 18, 19 points, something of that nature. Game 7 tonight, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. The early line, actually the later line, Brooklyn -2, 216. So what do they see? The odds makers see? Well, they're at home. James Harden is going to play. Kyrie Irving is out. He's a long way from being back to being healthy, according to Coach Steve Nash. Milwaukee has had a rough time of it in Brooklyn. They lose the first 2 games. They get dominated in the first 2 games. Game 5 was pretty close, but then Brooklyn took over. And the total here, 216. They've been under the total in all the games. 216. This started out at 240 in Game 1, and now it's worked its way all the way down to 216. So Brooklyn 216. I'll have official picks for you in the afternoon. I'll have picks for you at 12:30 Eastern for baseball early in the morning here on the West Coast, and then I'll have basketball picks for you around 6 o'clock Eastern after the first set of baseball games are done. I'll post it on our social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. Make the Money and Run has a Facebook page as well too. We'll post those picks there. If Casey and Charlie have any picks, I'll post them as well too. So that's basically what's going on in the NBA. Brooklyn Nets have a Game 7 tonight, 2 and 216 the total. The Philadelphia 76ers, for Game 7, didn't give you the line for Game 7 tomorrow night. They're a 7-point favorite. The total 216.5. That's 8.5 points less than what it was in Game 6. Philadelphia's defense came out to play. Joel Embiid had a good game. Ben Simmons, you got to show up at some point. Ben Simmons made some free throws, so the hack of Ben did not exactly work for the Sixers, and it ended up that they did not take a shot at the buzzer to kill the point spread. Trae Young let the ball come in bounds with 2.1 to go. 5-point victory for Philadelphia, 2.5-point cover. By 2.5 points they covered, and they stayed under by 21 points at 203. So that's the NBA. We'll take 30 seconds. We'll run down all the baseball from the weekend. Big weekend in New York for the Oakland A's. They come out with a victory. San Francisco Giants continue to be the hottest team in baseball, Bay Area baseball, going strong. See if the Arizona Diamondbacks can get off their losing streak as they host the Dodgers this weekend, and what's going on in San Diego for the Padres. That and more, the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League East and the Chicago White Sox, they both lose as well, too. So they're fighting it out for best record in the division. We'll have all that and more when the Make the Money and Run podcast continues in 30 seconds. I'm Vasi Vadaparty. Enjoy your morning. Welcome back to the Make the Money and Run podcast. Vasi Vadaparty here on Facebook Live and on YouTube early in the morning. Again, we had technical difficulties yesterday for the main Make the Money and Run podcast show on Friday afternoons. We preview the entire weekend, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Casey Freelove and I, we got changes coming up next week to the show. We'll tell you all about it on Monday on our main show, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. If you miss any of it, you can download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. Look for that logo up there in the top right, Make the Money and Run, with the little hamburger guy from the old McDonald's commercials. Look for that logo. Download, subscribe, rate, and review. You can get to us on email, mtmarpodcast@gmail.com. You can get to us on Twitter at mtmarpodcast, and, of course, Facebook, Instagram. We all have individual pages on Facebook and Instagram. And also Make the Money and Run has a social media page on Facebook as well. Any comments you have, any thoughts you have, any games you want us to talk about, any series, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal going on right now for the NBA playoffs. Western Conference Finals will start tomorrow with the Suns and the Clippers. The Eastern Conference Finals yet to be determined. Brooklyn and Milwaukee will play tonight for Game 7. Philadelphia, Atlanta will play Game 7, and they'll open the Eastern Conference Finals on Tuesday evening. I presume that's the case for the Eastern Conference Finals. TNT will have all the Eastern Conference games, and ABC and ESPN will have all the Western Conference games as well. All right, we promised a little baseball. We'll get to a little baseball now. Let's take a look at the standings here a little bit. The Chicago White Sox still lead the Indians by 3.5 games. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost 2 straight to the Astros after beating Tampa Bay 2 out of 3 in the series at home. Tampa Bay has lost 4 in a row, the 2 to the White Sox, and they were walked off 2 nights ago against Seattle, and the Mariners came back and beat them as well last night. They beat them by the score of 5-1. Yusei Kikuchi got the victory 4-3 over Michael Wacha, who's now 1-2. San Diego Padres get their second straight win against the Reds. They are 6 games back of the Giants now. They're 3 out of their last 10, but they've won 2 in a row. Are the Padres going to make a move? Who knows, because they proclaim themselves to be the second best team in all of baseball, and they've got into a big slump. They got swept by Colorado during the weekend. Colorado on a 5-game winning streak. They beat the Brewers again yesterday. The Brewers now 1 game back of the Cubs as they lose in 10 innings to Colorado 6-5. The Cubs also lose. They get hammered by the Miami Marlins after losing 3 out of 4 to New York. The Cubs lose the first game to the Marlins 10-2. The Cubs at 39-31, Milwaukee 38-32. Cincinnati, even with their loss, they've lost 2 in a row to the Padres, as we said. They are 35-33. They're 3 games back. St. Louis has lost 2 in a row. They are 35-35. They've lost 2 in a row to the Atlanta Braves. How about those Atlanta Braves? The Atlanta Braves 32-35. They're 5.5 back, 8 back in the loss column. The Mets. Remember, the Mets got off to a no start this season with the COVID. So they've only played 62 games, whereas everybody else has played 67 games. The only team over 500 in the National League East is those New York Mets. They lost 1-0 to Washington on a walk-off hit yesterday, 1-0 in the bottom of the ninth. Washington 31-35. They're only 6 back, and even Miami is 8.5 back of the Mets going into Saturday's action. Philadelphia lost to San Francisco 5-3. Vin Velasquez, they had a lead. They tied it up. McCutchen tied it up later at 3-3. But the Giants, as they do, they get a walk to the pitcher, an innocuous 2-out walk to the pitcher, and they turn it into runs. Lamont Wade ends up hitting a triple. Cueto, funny, running around the bases. Those of you that saw it in the Bay Area or did not see it in the Bay Area. Actually, you know what? The Giants-Phillies are not on regular TV. They're on Peacock. So the only way you can see the Giants-Phillies this weekend is you have to stream it through Peacock and cast it to one of your devices. But anyway, we watched a little bit of it on the internet. Johnny Cueto running the bases was very funny. Giants are at 45-25, 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 5 in a row. Their run differential is plus 88. The Dodgers do get a 3-0 win at Arizona. The Arizona Diamondbacks consistently having a tough time right now. 15-game losing streak. Of course, you know about the 23-game losing streak on the road. That's the worst accomplishment in Major League Baseball by road teams. They just surpassed the Baltimore Orioles in that category when they played the Giants this week when they were in San Francisco. Obviously 0-10 in their last 10. 15 in a row they've lost. Minus 100 in the run differential. They're fighting it out for Detroit, with Detroit for that number. Detroit now at minus 72. Who else has got low run differential? I think the Pirates are there too. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates are minus 99. How about the Pirates? They had an 11-1 lead yesterday on the Cleveland Indians. They held off to an 11-10 victory. They did get the victory. They're 24-44. They're 1 out of their last 9, and that was yesterday. They're 14 games back of the Cubs, so they're nowhere near contention. But that kind of hurt the Indians last night, even though the White Sox did lose. They had a chance to gain ground on the White Sox. They're only 2 back in the loss column. They've played only 67 games. The White Sox have played 70. So they have games to make up. The White Sox 6-4 in their last 10. The Indians 7-3 in their last 10 as well. The White Sox plus 98 had a walk-off loss last night against the Astros. They've lost 2 in a row. The Astros bats continue to swing well. They are plus 102, the best run differential in baseball. They're 2 games back of the A's. And how about the Oakland A's? They go into New York. James Caprillion beats Jameson Taillon. Tony Kemp hits a 3-run home run in comeback fashion after the A's had a 2-0 lead. The Yankees came back, took a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 5th inning. Sorry for you first 5-inning batters. That was pretty horrible to watch Rogie Odor hit that home run in the bottom of the 5th. It was like a walk-off loss if you bet the first 5 innings of a baseball game. But Tony Kemp right away in the 6th inning hits a 3-run home run with 2 outs. They hold on to win 5-3. The A's snap the Yankees' 4-game losing streak. The A's are on a 7-game winning streak. They're only plus 32 in run differential, and that's because of the horrible start they got at the beginning of the year. But they're 44-27. They're 1 game ahead of the Astros in the loss column. The A's have played 2 more games than the Astros. And then the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays have lost 4 in a row. They are even in the loss column with the Red Sox, both at 28 losses. Tampa Bay has 1 more win. The Yankees, with their loss, they stay at 6 back. And Toronto has lost 5 in a row. They get beat yesterday at Baltimore. They're 3 out of their last 10, including a 4-game sweep in Buffalo versus the Yankees. The Blue Jays are 33-35. They are hot. They still have Vladimir Guerrero. He's leading the Triple Crown categories. I believe he's still leading the Triple Crown categories. We'll see as it pops up here. But home runs, batting average, and RBIs. All right, a little bit more to do after this. That's the baseball breakdown. We'll give you some picks. We'll give you some lines. Actually, let's do that right now. Let me give you the lines in baseball right now, the early morning lines, so you can look it over. I'll have my picks for you at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 on the West Coast. So Mets and Nationals have a doubleheader today. First game at 1 o'clock on the East Coast. There's only 2 1 o'clock games right now, and that's the Mets and Nationals, game 1 of the doubleheader, and then the Oakland A's and New York Yankees, Domingo Germán and Chris Bassett. Germán 118, 9.5 the total against Chris Bassett. The 7-inning game 1 doubleheader, Joe Ross, 118, 6.5 over against David Peterson, the left-hander for the New York Mets. The Cubs are 124-9. The Giants are 111 and 7.5 with Alex Wood and Aaron Nola. These are the 405 games. Minnesota, Texas slight favorite with a total at 9, 112 and 9. Allard and Dobnak. Alex Manoah has pitched pretty well for the Blue Jays, a young rookie. Lost 2-1 to the Red Sox last week. They get Dean Kramer and the Orioles at 1 o'clock. 162 favored by Toronto, and 10 flat is the total for the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Indians and Pirates. The Indians slight favorite with Cal Quantrill, bullpen game for the Indians. Will Crow, the pitcher for the Pirates, 114, 8.5. Red Sox Royals. Red Sox favored by 115, 11 the total. Martin Perez, Brad Keller. Cincinnati, San Diego tonight on Fox. Vladimir Gutierrez and Miguel Diaz. Miguel Diaz 153, 9 the total for the Padres. The other game on Fox, St. Louis Cardinals and Atlanta Braves, 114 for Atlanta, 9.5 the total with Drew Smyly, Adam Wainwright. And then the other game on Fox for those of you in Chicago and Houston, Framber Valdez, Lance Lynn, 126 the line for Houston, 7.5 the total. Probably the best game out of the 3 games on Fox this afternoon. You can catch all the games on Fox, 7:15 Eastern, 7 o'clock for the pregame. Check your local listings. And then the last 3 games are Milwaukee, Colorado. Colorado 113, 10.5 the total. Tigers, Angels. How about Shohei Ohtani? 20 home runs for him. And he won the game against the Tigers the other night, too, as a pitcher. They're on Fox Sports 1 tonight. Angels, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock. Angels, Sandoval, 210, 9.5 against Willie Peralta. The Dodgers, Walker Buehler. They're on a 5-game winning streak. 210 at Arizona. Matt Peacock on the mound for Arizona. 9 the total. Buehler, Peacock. And then the last game of the night, Josh Fleming for the Tampa Bay Rays, the left-hander, 135, 8 the total. Logan Gilbert, the heralded rookie for the Seattle Mariners, gets the start tonight. That also at 10:10 Eastern tonight. All right, we're going to take 30 seconds, come back, talk a little hockey, a little U.S. Open golf. I might give you an early pick here, and we'll take it from there. I'm Vasi Vatapar. This is the Make the Money and Run podcast minute for Saturday, June 19th, 2021. Back in 30. Welcome back to the Make the Money and Run podcast minute. Vasu Vadaparty here, June 19th, 2021. Thanks to everybody on Facebook Live, YouTube Live as well. If you missed any of the podcast live, you can download, subscribe. Anywhere you get your podcast, look for the MTMAR logo up there in the right-hand corner. Download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're here Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Going to have a little tweak in the show starting on Monday or after Monday's show. Casey and Charlie and I will go over that with you as well. So thanks to everybody. We had a tough time yesterday with the internet connections and technical difficulties. So not really our best show as we're going right now. But we're here back today, and we're here to give you all the action and all the advice and all the sports betting wagers, sports betting tips. If you have any questions, send us an email, mtmarpodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter, MTMAR Podcast. We all have social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, and then also the Make the Money and Run page has a Facebook page as well too, and you can send us questions and comments there as well too. Then we'll get going now. We talked about baseball. We talked about the NBA. We got the U.S. Open. Coming up. The U.S. Open coming up day 3 right now. My guy Bryson DeChambeau, he shot a -2 yesterday, so he's back at even. So the leaderboard has Robert Bland, USA, Richard Bland. He's at -5. He'll go off at 135. Russell Henley, also from the USA at -5. Those are your 2 leaders. Oosthuizen, Wolf, both at -4. Bubba Watson at -3. John Rahm, one of the favorites, at -3. Kevin Streelman, -2. Mackenzie Hughes at -2, as well as Xander Schauffele. A lot of people thought Xander Schauffele was going to be up there at the top. He's at -2. And then you got 3 golfers at -1. And then Bezuidenhoff, even. I love saying that name. DeChambeau, my guy, 1229. He's going off at 1229. He's at even. He was +2 after day 1. He shot -2 on day 2. Let's go. You're only 5 shots back. I got him at +1,800. I know a couple of people had Schauffele at +1,600. John Rahm was the favorite, if you want to call it that, at +900 to win the tournament. John Rahm only 2 shots back of the lead of Bland and Henley, 1 shot back of Oosthuizen, and Matthew Wolff also out of the USA. That's the U.S. Open update for now. And then the NHL, how about the Montreal Canadiens? They get a 3-2 victory on a mistake by Marc-Andre Fleury. They have a 2-1 series lead. They're at home. They're going to have Game 4 tomorrow night, USA Network carrying that series. So if you don't have USA Network, I can tell you it's 242 on DirecTV. But this would be a major upset if the Montreal Canadiens can get past the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Las Vegas favored to win the Stanley Cup, down 2-1, Game 4 in Montreal tomorrow night. And if Montreal goes up 3-1, holy cow, the will be turned upside down. There's no doubt about it in my mind. So Montreal, Las Vegas tomorrow night. Tampa Bay squeaked out a 2-1 victory on Thursday. They have a 2-1 lead as they beat the Islanders on the island Thursday night. They'll play tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on NBC. I believe NBC has it, or NBC Sports Network has it. They'll play the Islanders on the island again. They have a 2-1 series lead. Vasilevsky has been great in goal for the Lightning. They're the Eastern Conference favorites. Well, there is no conference this year, but they're the second favorite team to win the Stanley Cup. They were +150 coming into the tournament. The Knights were +110. Montreal +1100. I wonder what you can get them at now with a 2-1 series lead on the Vegas Knights. And then the other fourth team was the Islanders were plus 1,500. Actually, the Islanders were +700. Montreal was the worst odds at +1,100, the best money you can get on Montreal. So the Islanders and the Lightning, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens, the 2 winners right now, they're at Game 4s apiece. Coming up, Game 4 tonight for the Lightning and Islanders, Game 4 tomorrow night for the Canadiens and Knights. Of course, the 2 winners will go on to play in the Stanley Cup that will start probably next weekend, depending on how long these series go. I still see Tampa Bay winning. And boy, if Vegas wins tomorrow night, I can see them winning 2 out of 3 at home. But give the Montreal Canadiens credit, give Carey Price credit. Carey Price looking like he's 25-26 instead of 34-35 where he is now. Marc-Andre Fleury has been kind of shaky for the Knights, but the fact that they're in it still at 2-1 down. Tomorrow night's a big game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And, of course, Vasilevsky playing goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning has been outstanding. The early surprise in Game 1 by the Islanders taking that Game 1 it did kind of set them back a little bit, but right now Tampa Bay is right at the ship. They are up 2-1. All right, let's give you some picks here. I'll give you a couple of early picks here that I like. Let's go with in the American League. I'm going to take the Oakland A's at plus 108. Chris Bassett against Domingo Germán. Germán has not pitched well this year for the Yankees. He's a high prospect, probably more of a prospect, less of a prospect than he was a few years ago. He's been up with the club for a few years. So the Oakland A's right now, the line keeps going down. It's plus 108 here that I have. So I'm going to take the Oakland A's at plus 108. And then I'm going to take the under in the Nationals and Mets game for the doubleheader. The over-under is 6.5. Kind of scary with David Peterson because he has a tendency to give up some runs. In fact, the over is favored, but I'm going to go with the under 6.5. Remember, it's a 7-inning game. It starts at 1 o'clock. So those are the 2 early baseball games I'll have. And then I'll have more picks for you at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. I do like the Milwaukee Bucks tonight at +2 against the Nets. I just think Milwaukee's found a key. Middleton can shoot well. They play any kind of defense like they did the last 2 games. I can see the Milwaukee Bucks coming out and winning Game 7 on the road. Maybe I'll have a pick for you for tomorrow's Game 7 for the 76ers and Hawks. And, of course, the Western Conference Finals start tomorrow after the miraculous comeback by the Clippers against the Utah Jazz. They eliminate the Jazz in 6. They will go to Phoenix, so they're probably already in Phoenix. They'll get ready for Chris Paul, maybe, and the Phoenix Suns tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. All right, so let's go back on that Mets pick right now. I'm going to do a little more research on that, but I am going to take the Oakland A's. That's my early pick for you. The Oakland A's at plus 108. Chris Bassett on the mound. He's been their best pitcher all year for the A's. They have the best record in the American League right now at 44-27. The White Sox have lost 2 in a row. The Rays have lost 4 in a row. The White Sox are 43-27. The Tampa Bay Rays are 43-28. And then the San Francisco Giants have the best record in all of baseball, 45-25. So the Bay Area going really strong. San Francisco entrenched in San Francisco. Oakland not sure where they're going to be playing at in the coming years, whether it's Portland, Las Vegas, or west of the Coliseum site where they're going to play at Howard Terminal. Hopefully they stay in the Bay Area. That's another story for another time. But right now they've got the best record of the American League at 44-27. They've already taken Game 1 from the New York Yankees. San Francisco Giants have the Philadelphia Phillies again on Peacock only. You have to stream it to watch it. The Phillies, 1 game under 500. They're 4.5 back, 7 back in the loss column to the Mets, who have a doubleheader against the Nationals today. All right, a lot of baseball, a lot of NBA that we went over. The U.S. Open in Day 3. Bryson DeChambeau got to get going. And then, of course, the hockey with the Lightning and Islanders and the Canadiens and the Golden Knights. Montreal up 2-1 in that series. Tampa Bay up 2-1 in their series. The 2 winners will meet for the Stanley Cup. And, of course, Game 7, Philadelphia-Atlanta. The winner will play the winner of Brooklyn and Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals that will start Tuesday night on TNT. I'm Vasi Vadaparty. This is the Make the Money and Run Podcast Minute. You can catch us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can download, subscribe, rate, and review if you happen to miss the live broadcast, our Worldwide Picks segment. We're going to go through some tweaks here over the next couple of days here. We'll tell you all about it on Monday. When we come back at 4:15, we'll have full house. Vasi Vadaparty, Charlie O, Casey Freelove, all back with you for the Make the Money and Run podcast. Full podcast we'll have on Monday at 4:15, Facebook and YouTube. All right, we're powered by Stables Media. Thanks to everybody at Stables Media for all their support. And we will see you Monday at 4:15. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. And as always, good luck with your picks. We'll see you Monday, 4:15 on Facebook and YouTube. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.